Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LeadTrain Launch Webinar Series, Episode 4. Today, we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at a few specific ways that LeadTrain will improve the way that you manage your team. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Jordan McKee.
And my name is Kyle Hill.
And we're very happy to be with you today. As we've advanced through this process, Kyle, we're now on Episode 4 of this series. I feel like my excitement's growing with each coming episode because we're able to give more and more information as we get closer to launch. And I'm looking at my calendar, I'm looking at my watch, and the time is not far out. This tool is coming very soon.
Yeah, very soon. And this webinar tonight will be evidence of that, showing you some of the awesome stuff that we got coming your way.
So let's do a quick recap before we move forward. In episode 1 of the LeadTrain Launch Webinar Series, we talked about the why of LeadTrain. So we brought you on a journey down memory lane and shared with you a glimpse of all the years of research that have gone into creating LeadTrain. We also shared a vision of our vision. So we shared a vision with you of our vision of creating a resource that will help you to simplify your life and improve your effectiveness.
And then in episode 2, we talked about the what of LeadTrain. And we gave you your first look at what you will be getting with LeadTrain. The episode outlined the tools that we're developing and the major problems that those tools are helping to solve.
And then episode 3, the how of LeadTrain part 1, we showed you how LeadTrain will help you to find, teach, enroll, and not duplicate, because duplicate is what we're going to cover now.
Exactly, which is episode number 4, the how of LeadTrain parts 2. And so we are going to be talking about the duplication, helping your team to grow.
So as we were creating this presentation, we decided the first thing we wanted to make clear was the questions that this webinar is not about. Okay, so if you came to this webinar thinking, I am wondering, will LeadTrain help my team, or will LeadTrain help me to manage my team? Those are not the questions that we're going to cover tonight, because the answer is a resounding yes. Okay, so if that's your concern, will LeadTrain help my team? I want you to rest easy and to know we are extremely confident that LeadTrain will help your team, and LeadTrain will help you to manage your team. The question we're going to look at tonight is, how will LeadTrain help my team, and how will LeadTrain help me to manage my team?
Exactly, Jordan. So let's take a look on this how LeadTrain is going to help you grow your team. And the first of the 3 major topics we want to cover tonight is first, organization. We're going to talk about the organization of your contacts, of events, and action history. Then we're going to jump to communication, where you can send single or mass messages, set reminders. And then also the last part will be about the training, where you can set customized tracks for these team members, making sure they're getting the training that they need. And so this is a bit of an overview, so we got a lot to cover. I say we jump right in, Jordan.
Okay, so the first step in organization is the organization of contacts. So you see in this image, it's a picture from the doTERRA back office, and it's the back office is, I'm trying to figure out the right way to put this. The back office is used for the displaying of information. Okay, so what it does is your actions and people signing up on your team all creates a database of information. Okay, so you've got this whole list of people under you and this whole archive of information about them, whether that's their contacts or their order history or their commission summary or their ranks, whatever it may be. It's this whole database of information about you and your organization. So what the doTERRA back office does is it takes that information and it displays it, makes it easy to see. Okay, it's not making it easy to interact with, it's just making it easy to see. which is sometimes is very important. If I want to pull a specific report or if I want to see a specific trend, then that's what I want. But if I'm looking for a way to help me manage my team or a way to help me to interact with my team, then a display of information is not going to help me accomplish that goal. I need something more. I need a relationship manager or relations manager. And that's what a CRM is. So you take the idea of that database of information, and now instead of displaying the information being the goal, interacting with the relationship with the information is the goal. So interacting with that information. So simplifying the way that you can find contact information, and then not only just find it, but then contact them, whether you're emailing and texting or calling. Simplifying the way that you can filter that information that you've gathered. So I want to see my team based on state or based on rank or based on event attendance. I want to see them based on the trainings that they've been involved with, right? So you're able not only to display information, but you're able to communicate and interact with that I keep saying information every time I want to say relationship. Information, all right? You're able to interact with that information. So a few points I want to highlight. CRM, so you have these contacts, and that's the contacts of your team. It provides an easy way to find how to communicate with people. So it's an easy way for me to get on to find Kyle's phone number, his email, and his address, right? So it simplifies that. Then beyond that, it's a simple way to find everyone who lives near Kyle that is on my team, right? So I can communicate with that portion of my team. And then last but not least, it gives me a way to interact with his information. So if I get there and I find his email, I can just email him. Or if I get there and I find his number, I can just text him or I can just call him. So it's taking the data that's on this database and it's making it actionable.
Exactly. And I really like what Jordan said about making that information actionable. And that's the purpose of LeadTrain is taking that data from the doTERRA CSV and making it actionable, whether that's through the filtering process, taking specific actions with those segmented groups, and just making sure that you have the latest and greatest contact information for your team. So that as you are on the go, as we all are busy wellness advocates, you're able to call that person quickly straight from your phone or device. You're able to send them a quick email, and you're able to make sure that you have contact with that person whenever you need it. And as Jordan said, the back office is great for displaying that data and charts. LeadTrain builds upon that and allows you to take further action and make sure that you're the leader you need to be with that data.
It's hard to communicate with the back office. I think and in my experience with other wellness advocates, they feel the same way. It's hard to find the information. It's hard to grab a list of specific team members that you want to create, maybe invite to a class or give a training to. It's hard / impossible to do many of these things. And it's because it's not what it was built for. It was built to display the information, not to allow you to act on it. And so what we've done is we've built upon that idea with now you can display the information, but you can also act upon it.
Exactly. And so we're really excited about this organization tool. And so the next thing that we wanted to talk about is event management. And event management is been among the most discussed items that we've talked with you about and amongst ourselves about, because we know that event management is one of the most underrated aspects of the doTERRA market and making sure that people are coming to your events. Because
do you mind if I jump
yeah,
in
jump
there?
in.
I think you're right in an essence here that it's underrated on I guess in the area that we're going to talk about tonight. It's underrated on the team aspect, that we often are so focused on getting our leads to events and getting our network to events that we forget the importance of tracking if our team members are attending events and who are and what events they're going to. I think that we often get so carried away in the idea of finding and teaching and enrolling that we forget that so much of this business is based on our team members duplicating and them growing and continuing their education process.
Exactly. And a lot of times we do forget that, and making sure that we keep that fire lit in our team members. And so what we've done through LeadTrain is making sure that holding those events and managing those events is very easy, and making sure that you get your team members to those events. And so some of the things we want to talk about, the bullet points today, is helping you to better organize those events, managing those events, following up with those events, and every action in between.
So give me an example, Kyle. I'm holding an event let's say I'm holding a back office training event. Okay. And I want to invite, I've heard that my team in Idaho is struggling with their back office understanding the back office, how to use it. So I want to hold an event for them. What does this look like? Take me through this process.
Yeah, awesome. What this would look like is, now that we have our team in LeadTrain, we're able to segment them down. As we just talked about, we can organize them into an Idaho-based team. And then from there, we're going to invite them to an event. So I create an event in LeadTrain and call it the back office training event. I put in the details, the date, time, and then I can invite those particular team members to this event. Now, at this point, the LeadTrain magic really takes over, because once these people say that they're registered or they're coming, LeadTrain will be able to follow up with them, make sure that they get all the information that they need, and it will send it to them automatically.
Not to mention display to you every one of your team members that you've invited, everyone that's opened the invitation, and everyone that's responded to the invitation. So that gives you a lot of analytics, knowing what team members are acting upon what you're sending to them. And I thank you, Kyle, for that. I think that it's good for us to see it in action and to understand how it works. And there's one thing, there's so many event managers and event management tools out there. The big, I guess, difference, or the big, the unique offering that we bring to the table is that we are focused specifically upon you and your business. This is not a tool that's really generic to any business and that you can, rig and change to try to fit yours. This is something that was created specifically for your business. And so it's neat. One of the big tools that I think people are really going to like is a web-based event page. And so as I create that event, say I'm doing that back office training, I'll be given the question, do you want to share this with the rest of your team? Do you want them to know that this event is going on? Sometimes no. Sometimes I just want to hold this event just for Idaho. But maybe in this circumstance, I think, yeah, it wouldn't hurt if anybody else wants to go or to bring people. So I click yes. Well, it then shares that event on a web page that shows all of your upcoming events. This makes it really easy for you to share with your team a list of upcoming events that you would like them to come to and invite friends to as well. It's really simple, but I think it's to make a big difference, because what we're doing is making it as simple as possible for the team manager to invite people to classes in multiple different ways.
Exactly. And another huge benefit that this has, doing it all in LeadTrain, is the integration factor. And what I mean by integration is, if these team members then opt in or sign up for this event that we just were talking about, Jordan, is it will take care of all the follow-up. It will take care of the reminders, all that stuff that we may forget about and typically do forget about. It does that all for you. And it also keeps a log of that. And we're going to talk about that here in a moment. And it's all about the action history. And this is going to be a huge thing for you as a leader in keeping tabs on your team.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue. I say we jump in there right now. The next part that we want to talk about with organizing your team is an action history. And the idea with this is it's a log. It's a log of actions that have taken place by that individual, right? So let's jump back to our same situation here, our same hypothetical situation. So I create an event for my Idaho team, and I send an invitation to all the members of my Idaho team. Well, what I now have in my CRM, my contact manager, right, is everybody in that Idaho team, everybody that I've invited under their profile, it lets me know that they were invited to this event on this date. So even the ones that did not attend, and then it'll let me know those that have attended these events. It'll also let me know who's RSVP'd to different events. Why is this valuable? Well, it's extremely valuable because I can then get in my team and I can say, okay, I was inviting Kyle to events and he attended several, and he was on a roll. He was attending events every month until October. And then in October, he stopped attending events and he's opening my invitations, but he's not RSVPing and he's not attending. It might be smart for me to give Kyle a call and to talk about what's going on and why he stopped his doTERRA education, right? So it gives me a view of the problems, but it also gives me a view of the advantages. So maybe I'm going to have a one-on-one with Kyle, and I look into his profile and I see, okay, Kyle has attended an event on back office training. He's attended an event on placements. He's attended an event on helping the team get onto LRP. He's attended all these things, and I can see, wow, you know what? Kyle's really going above and beyond. I've got a record here of all the things he's doing, and I can bring those classes up as we have this one-on-one discussion. So just like any information, it really empowers me as the leader because I know I've got this action history, this log of everything that Kyle's been doing to grow his business.
And there will be so many other things that you'll be able to see. This is just a small example, hypothetical situation as we were just talking about.
Yeah, give us some more. What's some more things that we get to see?
So a few others. One more would be the samples. Maybe making sure that if our team members needed some samples, we're able to keep track of that. Trainings completed. There will also be some trainings we're going to talk about here in just a moment about the trainings that you can help your team complete. But if they're doing those trainings, if they're taking those actions, if they're opening emails, if they're watching those videos, there's so many things, as Jordan mentioned, the emails that we send, making sure that they are opening our emails, making sure that they're getting them. Because as a leader, that takes down a lot of those steps that you have to take where you're trying to maybe fix a problem or make sure that one of our team members is, I guess, feeling involved. So you don't have to email Susie, or I don't have to email Jordan and say, hey, Jordan, are you getting my emails? He responds back and says, oh, no. And then I have to go back and check and say, wow, well, that would help.
If I'm not getting your emails, I don't know how I'm responding to say no.
So exactly. You'd know beforehand without making yourself feel like a chump.
Yeah. I think that's a huge point because there is a stress sometimes, especially when you're involved in some of those crucial conversations. It's maybe you send an email about something that's pretty serious and the growth of their business or placements changes or something, and you never hear back. It's good to at least know, hey, it's been opened. They've seen the email, or they haven't, and they're not seeing any of my emails. I better call them and see if I've got the right email address because I haven't heard any responses. So I think this action history is going to be huge in educating you as a team leader to know what's going on in your team. So moving on to the next point, those were the 3 points. I guess before we move on, let's hit those one more time. So organizing your team, it's an actionable CRM. So a database that helps you to act, that helps you to be able to communicate, to organize, and to filter your team. Then you have event management. It makes it easy to invite and to increase attendance at your team events, as well as keep a log of those that have attended and been invited. And then last, a whole action history that will show you basically everything that that person's been doing and your relationship with them. So now let's go on to communication.
And so the next point, communicating with your team. So right now, as you talked about with the back office, there's no real easy way to communicate with your team. And so we've set out to really make that more simple and easy to use and to manage. So as we talked about before, there will be options for you to group message to make sure that as you're filtering those contacts down, those team members down by state or by rank, that you can easily communicate with those people. Have that on record, see who's opened it, see who's clicked on any links you've inserted in there. You can also message people individually and do the same things. And this really, once again, helps you as a leader to make sure that that communication is going on and that you can do it with the right people, see if they're getting your messages, clicking on them, and you're more empowered as that leader, and making sure that if there are steps that need to be taken with particular team members, you can do them proactively.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's communication is difficult right now, and it's simplified by LeadTrain. It's as simple as that. You've had to pay extra in order to have communicating abilities on the back office, but then you're unable to tell if it's been opened or if people are even using their back office message center. And the benefit of LeadTrain is the messages can go where you want them to go, whether that's a text message, whether that's an email, or even Facebook, as we work and integrate more with social media. And so there's the ability to send and to communicate that's huge, but then there's also the ability to analyze. And so analytics play a big role. You can tell who's opening, who's responding, when you send it, when they viewed it, different things that are really going to help simplify your stresses and empower you as that leader. I think Kyle nailed it. So the next point with communication is reminders. Okay, so reminders seem like a no-brainer, but what we've learned in our experience with these tools is there's definitely a balance in helping them to be most effective and in helping them to be the most actionable. So not just in reminding you of a task, but in reminding you in a way that will help you act on it immediately. And so what we've given you the ability to do is, as you're working with specific team members, you can set specific reminders. And so let's say I'm working with Kyle and we're in a one-on-one and we're talking about this. And he says, I would really love to get a hold of your PowerPoint presentation on, I don't know, something. He wants to get a hold of one of my PowerPoint presentations. And I say, great. Well, you know what? I'm out of the house all day today and I'm driving home, but let me set myself a reminder. It's on my desktop computer. So I send it when I get home. I'll set myself a reminder, right? And so then when I get home, I can get that reminder. And I said, well, I may not be on my computer because I've been gone all day. I might be with my family. Send it as a text. I want a text reminder to send it to Kyle, or because I'm not going to see it on the app and I'm not going to see it in my email. So I get that text. Well, let's change this up. Let's say I look at that reminder later and I think, you know what? I just said send Kyle PowerPoint. I didn't write send Kyle specific PowerPoint, right? And so I want to get in. I now have the ability to edit that reminder. And so I can go in and change, and it's smart enough to recognize the edit. And so this reminder shows up in the app next to Kyle. And so if it's a long-term reminder, maybe remind him in 3 months, I see that in his profile, remind me about this, about Kyle.
Exactly. And the thing we love about reminders is, once again, it allows you to be a better leader, making sure that you're following up with people, that you're getting them the resources they need in a timely manner. And Jordan did a great job with those reminders. And so I think that I think that's great, Jordan. I say we move on to the next point, which is the training now. So should we go back and review what we, since we're moving on to the last point here.
We got our two communication.
So we have communication. The first one was making sure that we can communicate to the masses, to groups, and individual messaging with those analytics that Jordan talked about. Really helps you to nail down that communication.
And so a built-in message center that's really going to simplify communication with your team.
And then the second one was reminders, which we just talked about, making sure that we don't forget those important events or specific resources we need to deliver to our team members.
Yeah, tasks, whatever pops out.
And then the last thing we're going to hit on in this webinar is training, because we talked about in the beginning, the duplication was the thing that we left out in part one. And so it's all about duplicating our team, making sure that our team is receiving the correct amount of training, and so that they feel as they're getting into your team that they have the resources they need to be successful.
So on one of my screens, the picture of the train track is coming up very clear. On another one, it is very fuzzy. So I don't know which one you're seeing. So if you see it coming up fuzzy, I apologize. It's clear on one of ours.
No need to put your glasses on. It is definitely blurry.
Yeah, it is blurry. The idea with LeadTrain, we kind of like the connotation of the train. And the reason why is because it was a track. And tracks have these wooden planks that go every so often. I don't claim or train or claim to be an engineer or a train locomotion
engineer /
locomotive
train guy,
locomotive enthusiast. I don't know anything about trains, very little. But what I know about the tracks is that they lead from one destination to another. And we liked that. We like that idea. And that's the whole idea of training in any way, right? Is to lead from one destination to another. So what we wanted to do is, there's so many systems. And as we've tried to create different trainings and different types, there's just so many differences with each team. And so what we've created the ability to do is to create a track, a training track. And it allows you to take the information that you have and the trainings that you want to offer your team and plug it in. And so whether you're using Share Success or whether you're using the Edge team trainings or something else, it gives you the ability to easily take the information that you want your team to receive and the steps that you want them to take and insert it into a track that then will respond as emails that will come on certain frequencies that you set to your team. And so let me again put it into an example. I can create a teaching track. And the whole idea of this teaching track is to help my train learn to become better teachers. And so I sign up Kyle, he enrolls, he's on my team, and he says, I'm really concerned about being able to teach and to hold a class like you've held. And you say, you know what? I've got a whole training that'll help you do that. Let me send you an email. And you start the email and it says, hey, Kyle, here's my training about teaching. Do you want to start this? It'll take, I'll send you an email every 3 days for the next 2 weeks, and Kyle can say, yeah, let me get on, and he'll start receiving those trainings. So that's the idea with the track, is you can create customized trainings that go to your team at these certain frequencies, allowing you to train your whole team at the same time and allowing you to automate many training ideas on your team.
Yeah. And the thing we like about the training track is you can set your own path. As Jordan said, it works with any system. It works with any training style. You're in full control because this is your team. We considered, setting a generic track so that people could follow that, but we found that you may have a specific way you want to do things, and it's better to let you set that track yourself. And as Jordan said, you can set multiple tracks. And if you have a specific way that you welcome people to your team and you find that you're doing it over and over, you can set up that track. And when someone is newly imported into LeadTrain, it'll ask, do you want to add this person to your welcome track? You say yes, it takes care of the rest. It sends them the information they need, and then you can monitor their actions as they go along, whether they're opening those emails, whether they're clicking off to the links you want them to go to. And then you can follow up in a timely manner. And so the other tools that we talked about before, the reminders and the communication tools, all fit in with this idea of training tracks.
This has been a ton of information, a lot, just on this idea alone, let alone on everything we've talked about. So if you have any questions, please send them in. There's a question box under a question comments box under this webinar. So feel free to send in those questions. We'll answer them as soon as we can, and we'll send replies. We're pretty timely. We try to be quick. Some of you we might even be able to answer while you're still watching the webinar. So we hope that that helps. So if you have any questions, please send them in. It's a lot of information to process, especially when you're hearing of all the logic that's gone into everything. So let's do an overall review of everything. We've got organization. In order to help you better organize your team, we've created a CRM, a contact manager, that allows you to better view and act on those contacts. We've created an event management system that allows you to simplify the process of having your team attend events and have a better record of what they've attended. And then we've created this notes, or this the action history section, that allows you to see what actions each person was taking, each person has been taking in your team.
And the next section we talked about is the communication section. And simply put, just helping you to not only communicate better with your team, but being able to monitor the responses, the opens, and making sure that if there are people that need to be helped, you're able to do that and do it before it's too late.
And then last but not least, we allow you to create customized training tracks that you can share with your team, so they can be trained on a variety of different skills and techniques, and have education on whatever you want to offer to your team. Again, one more point on those training tracks is the benefit is you create it one time. And so I gave you an example of giving Kyle that training, but you can throw 50 people onto the same training track at the same time, and it gives you the ability to seemingly be 50 places at once. Now, upcoming, our next webinar will be on July 7th. This is going to be a big webinar because we'll be discussing the cost of LeadTrain, of a LeadTrain account, our launch schedule, as well as the best ways for you to get in early and to save money. I guess spoiler alert is you're going to want to be on the next webinar, because by the end of next webinar, people are going to be learning how they can get their account now, and how they can save their spot and they can start getting in. We're also starting so much of the testing. We've been doing a lot of testing of the product, and that testing is going to continue to increase. So you'll get to hear about how you can be involved in the testing as we come closer to launch date.
So as always, we love your feedback. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, as Jordan said, there is that comments box below this video. Send them in, and we're going to try and get them as soon as possible. And as he said, we'll try and get back to them even during this video if possible. And so if you also want to send us a email directly, the email is on the screen, which is info@leadtrain.com. We're on Facebook, LeadTrain, single word. Twitter, our handle is @lead_train, and also Instagram is the same, lead_train. So we'd love to get your feedback. And as always, we're going to always revert to the saying of, we work for you. We want to hear your suggestions, your comments. And as Jordan said, we're going to get you in for testing if you want to be a part of that. We want to make sure that this tool works for you. And so there will be a lot of changes coming up, but let us know. Let us know what you like, what sounds good, and maybe things that you would like to see in the future as well.
So thank you so much for being with us. Have a wonderful night, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.